afternoon all. That video was supposed to be played towards the end of yesterday's class, but since yesterday it was late already, so I thought of playing it today. So anyhow, the message was served, that's all. Okay. So now, I had told you to leave the INC part blank. Fine. So now, I have to tell you a very important story. See, Surendranath Banerjee, you all know, he was the founder of Indian Association, and that Indian Association was founded in the year 1876, and he organized two national level conferences, two national conventions, where he invited leaders from different parts of India to one place. He wanted to establish a common platform, one organization under which all Indian leaders can get together and fight effectively against the Britishers. That was his intent. Fine. So for that sake, he wanted to take the opinion of leaders from different parts of India. Therefore, he invited all of them to meet in the year 1883, and the leaders, they agreed, okay, yes, we need an organization. And then there was question of funds, because if you want to establish an all India organization, you have to establish branches all across the country, and establishing branches all across the country, it means you require a lot of funds. So that is the reason in the year 1884 they organized the collection of national fund. Now fund was also ready, the leaders were also ready, and they wanted to establish a national level organization, and before that he wanted to meet the leaders again. So that's the reason in December 1885 he organized the second national convention. First national convention 1883, collection of national funds 1884, second national convention 1885. And I will tell you what all happened, but before that I have to tell you a very small story about Surendranath Banerjee. Yesterday I also told you that Surendranath Banerjee was one among the earliest Indians who cleared ICS examination. If he was an ICS, why would he start Indian Association? Listen, I also told you that Indians, they could not tolerate, the Britishers could not tolerate any Indian entering into civil services. They had this racial arrogance. They treated Indians as racially inferior citizens. They could not tolerate that. So, even those Indians who had entered into the service, they were looking for silly excuses to disqualify them, to send them out of service, to remove them from service. They were creating a lot of obstacles and challenges for the Indian civil servants. Though they were civil servants, they used to treat them as inferiors only. Now Surendranath Banerjee, 1869, he cleared the examination. But Britishers, they were looking for even the silliest of the excuse to send them out. I told you, 4 Indians cleared that year. Surendranath Banerjee was one among them. They did not like him being in service. He was a very nationalistic person. Therefore, what they did, they disqualified him. And the reason they gave was about his date of birth. See, as per the Indian tradition, now like, what is your date of birth? Now we follow the British tradition. What is your date of birth? The day you came out of your mother's womb. The day you came out of your mother's womb. That is what we consider as date of birth. The day you were born on this earth. The day you came out of your mother's womb. That is your date of birth. But as per the Indian traditions, earlier, to your date of birth, the number of days you spent in your mother's womb was also added. So if you had spent around like 8 to 9 months in your mother's womb, that would also been added to your age, because that is your actual age. So that was the Indian tradition, and British tradition was something else, whatever we followed today. So Surendranath Banerjee's date of birth was as per Indian tradition. Date of birth plus the number of days spent in mother's womb. But British tradition, what does it demand? The day you were born on this earth. So his records did not match up. Surendranath Banerjee's records did not match up, and Britishers disqualified him. See, there is a mistake where discrepancy in your date of birth, disqualified. But Surendranath Banerjee, this person was a very determined person. So what he did, he got his documents corrected, he prepared for the examination again, and he cleared again. Prepared again, cleared again. And now Britishers, they started hating him even more, because they disqualified this person, but this person did not give up and he entered into the service again. They did not like him very much now, and this person was also nationalistic. Therefore what happened? They were again looking for some excuses to send him out of the service. So as per the British historians, they say he committed a very serious judicial error. As per the British historians, they say Britishers removed him from service again because he committed a very serious judicial error. But that was not the case. That was not the case. He was disqualified for a silly reason. He was sent out from the service again. He was removed from the service again. See, first attempt, date of birth. Second attempt, removed on a silly reason. So Surendranath Banerjee, he realized the true nature of British rule. Earlier, he was also the product of the Western education. He also had a lot of belief in the Britishers. Fine. He was also one among them who thought British rule is a blessing in India. But now his thoughts were changed, because he was the one who personally felt and experienced the true nature of British rule. Now he wanted to enter again, but the age of entry was 21. Later Lytton reduced it to 19, that's a different story, but the age of entry was 21. He could not appear again, age bar at the age of 21. How many of you? Not eligible? 21. All of you are might need, what's your age? 21. 22. Just miss. But still disqualified. So, ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ UPSC ತರಬೇತಿ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆದಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಈ ಕುರಿತು ಏನಾದರೂ ಒಂದು ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ನಡೆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ತಾಳ್ಮೆ ವಹಿಸಿ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, now see, Surendranath Banerjee, he was disqualified from service. He was very angry. He wanted to teach a lesson to Britishers. How to teach? He understood the true nature. So he wanted to teach a lesson. Therefore, he established Indian Association, and he also understood there are many small organizations all across India, but there is no unity among Indians only. Therefore, what he thought, since we are fighting against a common enemy, we need a common platform under which the leaders from different parts of India can come together and fight against the common enemy in an effective manner. That's what he meant. Therefore, he organized National Convention 1883, collection of National Fund 1884, another National Convention 1885. And by now, Britishers understood. This person has understood our true nature. And if he establishes a national organization, can Britishers control it? No. Difficult to control both Surendranath Banerjee and also that organization. So Britishers, they did not want him to establish a national level organization. They did not want him to succeed in his attempt. Therefore, they did a different trick. Which I will tell you. But now continue with regard to INC. Write down. Say, I don't know about earlier subject, but my class involves lot of dictation. Fine. You have to get adjusted with it. That's inevitable. Fine. I am not going to make you favors by giving handouts and all. I don't believe in the effectiveness of the handouts, because you have the option there to read it or to throw it away. But here you have to write it. And here also you have a choice. You can do the drama. But that I can't stop. So now write down. INC. Which year it was founded? 1885. December. 28th December 1885. 28th December 1885. And where was it founded? Write down. Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay. Gokuldas Tejpal, TEJ, Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay. Who was the founder? I expected this answer. Okay. A.O. Hume, Alan Octavian Hume. Were there no Indians in this founders? Hey, Surendranath Banerjee is working in a different direction. Fine. Any Indian among the founder? Only A.O. Hume alone? No. Others were also there, but you don't know. You don't want to tell. W.C. Banerjee. Okay. Don't write down. Listen, we are still discussing. It's his opinion. Fine. Okay. And then? Amit Shah. Dean Shah. Okay. You are very obsessed with Shahs, no? Like 2 classes ago, like when I asked the names of the later Mughals, Bahadur Shah, Shah Alam. Okay. What book to read for modern history? Very simple. Class 8 and Class 12 NCERT. Class 8 Our Past Part 3, Class 12 Themes in Indian History Part 3. And if you have time, you can also go through Bipin Chandra, the History of Modern India, the old NCERT. Fine. These 3 books will suffice along with the classes. Fine. So now, any other founder, any other Indian, apart from A.O. Hume, write down. You wrote A.O. Hume. Why you are so obsessed with A.O. Hume? Write down in the margins. A.O. Hume is regarded as the father of Indian ornithology. The father of Indian ornithology. ORNITHOLOGIST. What is ornithology? Bird watching. That's the reason I know when I ask you the name of the founder of A.O. Hume, INC, you only tell AOUM, because you like AOUM and you are very skilled in the art of ornithology, especially guys, very good ornithologists. That's the reason. Only answer you give AOUM. That's all. Understood? I am from Seshadripuram. I know. I understand all these things very well. Now write down in the main page, after AOUM, Dadabhai Nauroji. Dadabhai Nauroji. Yes. Deen Shah. Deen Shah. DINSHAW. Deen Shah. Edulji. EDULJI. Deen Shah Edulji Wacha. WACHA. Deen Shah Edulji Wacha. Fine. See, how many delegates were there? How many people attended the first session of INC? Any idea? 72. And all these 72 leaders who attended the first session of INC, they are the co-founders of INC. They are the co-founders of INC. Because of them, INC took birth. Fine. Write on. Put hyphen and write. The first session was attended by 72 delegates. Fine. Right on the next point. Who was the president of the first session? Right on. It was presided by Umesh Chandra Banerjee. WOMESH. Umesh. Umesh Chandra Banerjee or WC Banerjee. Right. See, Bengali pronunciations are different. Right. Their pronunciations are slightly different. So, and those pronunciations are very much different from us. See, we call, like yesterday there was a name, Raja Radhakant Deb. We pronounce it as Dev. They call it as Deb. We use V, they use B. Fine. Whenever we use T, they use D. There are like, I'll tell you a very small example. Back then, in 2013, 12-13, Mamata Banerjee was the railway minister. Mamata Banerjee, she is from Bengal. Didi, you know. So, she is from West Bengal. She was the railway minister. And during her times, she introduced, you all know about Rajdhani Express, no? State capitals to Delhi. That is Rajdhani. She introduced something called as Duronto Express. Duronto Express. Fine. Fine. So again, state capitals to Delhi, non-stop. Rajdhani Express will give some stops, selected stops, but Duronto, non-stop. State capital to national capital, non-stop. I was supposed to go, like I usually used to give my prelims and mains only in Bangalore. I never wrote outside. So I was supposed to come back to Bangalore. I had a lot of books, so I had to come by train only. I told my parents, I am coming by Duronto. My mother on the other side of the call, bidtu annu. Touch wood. I told, that's the name of the train. Fine. Turant means fast. Normally, like in, it's a word of Sanskrit origin. So in Hindi, Turant means fast. In Bengali, instead of tu, they use du. Turant, Durant. So, but we have a different meaning for that. Durant means disaster here in Karnataka. So that's how the pronunciation makes a lot of difference. Okay. Now write down the objectives of INC. The objectives of INC. Why INC was founded? First one, mold India, MOULD, mold India into a secular and a democratic nation. Secular and a democratic nation. Second objective, India is the land of diversity. India is the land of diversity. Fine. Lot of race, religion, language. Therefore, there is an imminent need. Therefore, there is an imminent need to unify the masses. To unify the masses under a common platform. To unify the masses under a common platform. Because we are fighting against a common enemy. Fine. So, next point, educate the masses, politically. Educate the masses politically. With regard to the ideals like self-rule, in brackets Swaraj, Indians ruling India, self-rule, democracy, civil liberties, self-rule, democracy, civil liberties, etc. See, masses should know for what purpose they are fighting, what do they want, right? So all these things, self-rule, civil liberties, democracy, rule of law, equality, fraternity, and all those things, but this will suffice, fine. So now, see, Evoyum, he was a retired civil servant. He is the founder. He is the main founder. Along with him, Dadabhai Naoroji, Deen Sayedulji Vacha were also there, but he is the main founder. So, this organization, founded by Britishers, with Britisher as a main pillar, do you think it will serve the nationalistic purpose? Do you think it will be able to fight effectively against the Britishers? Because the founder himself, the main founder himself, is a Britisher, British civil servant, retired civil servant. It means throughout his life he had served the British Empire. Right? Imagine 60 is the retirement age. Let's imagine this person got into services at the age of 21. He had served the British Empire for 40 years. 40 years he had served the British Empire. He might have been the loyal civil servant. So, would he do anything against the Britishers? Will he do anything against Britishers? A loyal civil servant, a patriotic person. So, how can INC be helpful to Indians if it is founded by Britishers? And first of all, why did he help in the formation of INC? There are multiple theories with regard to the formation of INC, and there is one theory called as theory of safety valve. Theory of safety valve. You generally see the safety valve in cookers, pressure cookers. You know them? These classes running for 2023 prelims. Hope so. There are 2024 batches going on. Now, tell me, who are they? Lal Bal Pal. Full names? Very good. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal. Okay, very good. So, you know about all these things. Now, don't laugh, there is a reason. Now, generally Please tell me, what is the role of the safety valve in a cooker, pressure cooker? And visual udeka. See, let's imagine there is no safety valve. This valve is sealed. What will happen to the cooker? Hey, if you do not heat it, how it will blast? You have to heat it first. Let me complete the sentence first. Listen, when you start heating the cooker, and if it doesn't have a safety valve, the pressure will increase and that will get blasted. So, in order to avoid such things, in order to vent out the pressure, the excessive pressure that has been accumulated in the system, they will provide the safety valve. That will ensure the stability of this cooker. That will ensure that this cooker doesn't blast. That is the reason. And now, just try to imagine, imagine there is flames, policies of Lytton. What are the policies of Lytton? Vernacular? What is it? Okay? Hey, you are forgetting the most important thing. That's what hurting me. Royal Darbar during famine, Second Anglo-Afghan War during famine. When we criticized, then came Vernacular Press Act. And then reduction of maximum age of entry into civil services. So these were the policies of Lytton. And there was Ilbert Bill controversy, which showcased the racial arrogance of Britishers. So because of all these things, imagine all these policies, all these policies as the heating agent. Fine? All these policies are the policies of Lytton, and also Ilbert Bill controversy. All these policies are the heating agents. They are the flames. And imagine this cooker is India. Indians are getting dissatisfied with the British rule. Even the educated Indians, the common masses, they are getting severely dissatisfied because famine, who will suffer more? The common masses. COVID-19 crisis, who suffered more? The common masses. We will suffer more. So, this suffering will increase the dissatisfaction against the British rule. So, more and more masses were suffering, they were increasingly dissatisfied, nobody cared about them, nobody listened to them. Fine? So, there was severe dissatisfaction, and imagine if there is no safety valve, what will happen? See, in 1857 also, the similar thing happened. Fine? The policies of Dalhousie, the economic exploitation, political reason, dissatisfaction of zamindars, dissatisfaction of kings, dissatisfaction of soldiers, fine? And also the Royal Enfield rifle issue, all these things together got accumulated. Britishers did not address it, and it got bursted in the form of revolt of 1857. Now a similar situation is getting set in India. Indians are increasingly dissatisfied with the British rule. Now the common masses are more affected. Fine? Famine, no relief, no help. People are starving, people are dying. Millions of people died. Britishers did nothing, they were celebrating. So, imagine if there is no safety wall, what will happen? Again, there might be one more revolt. There might be one more revolt. If nobody cares, if nobody addresses the problems of Indians, then there will be one more revolt. Therefore, Britishers, they also started sensing that Indians are getting more and more frustrated and dissatisfied with the British rule. Now, they wanted a means, they wanted a method or a platform through which at least they can listen to the Indian masses. At least they can assure the Indian masses that their problems will be addressed. And in order to help Indians vent out their pressure, they set up INC. Imagine this cooker as India and all these flames as the British policies, Lytton, Ripon, Ilbert Bill controversy, all these things. Indians were getting excessively dissatisfied, and if this dissatisfaction continues, then this system will burst. It means it will take the form of revolt. There might be one more revolt, just like it happened in 1857. In order to prevent that from happening, they wanted to provide a safety wall, and that safety wall was nothing but INC. See, what will INC do? Again, it will act as a platform. Imagine you are the common masses, I am the leader of INC. So what I will do is, you have a lot of problems. Earlier nobody cared for you, nobody listened to you. But now I will ask you, what is your problem? Please let me know. I would like to address it. I would like to solve it for you. So you will tell your problem to me. I will convey it to Britishers through prayers or petitions, written applications. Sir, please get this done. We need schools in this region. We need hospitals in this region. Here the people are suffering. Please help them. Like that, I will address this request to Britishers through petitions. Fine. So one end, see, I don't know whether it is going to get addressed or not. One end, you will have the satisfaction. At least finally somebody listened to me. Somebody at least cared for me. At least I was able to tell my grievances to someone. See, Indians are emotional beings. Indians are emotional beings. I will give you the example. Imagine your representative, your MLA or some other people, councillor. 5 years, they never came to you. The torn roads, fine, no water supply, lot of problems. You struggled for 5 years, nobody even cared for you. Before elections, new roads will be built. Just like how it is now in Bangalore, new roads everywhere. Few months ago, those roads were only suitable for tractors. So you need not go to Dandeli and all for river rafting, adventurous sports and all. Bangalore roads were more suitable. Right? But now, the elections have been announced. Now, some representative, like there are multiple candidates, let us assume the sitting MLA, he will come to your home. The moment he enters your home, he will fall onto your mother's and father's feet. Amma, nani mane maga amma. I am like your son. Amma, please get me one glass of water or a coffee. I heard that you prepare coffee very well. Mommy, gone. First only she was gone the moment he fell onto her feet. Second, coffee, full gone. Fine. All this while, your mummy was waiting for the opportunity. Let me get hold of that representative, I will teach him a lesson. I'll ask him a question. I'll ask him question regarding the misrule. Nobody cared for all these years. Like that, she had a lot of anger. Now, all the anger melted away. Now, while having coffee, you will ask your mother, Amma, is there any problem? Do you want me to address it? Your mother will say, roads were not proper, no proper drinking water supply. During COVID, we suffered a lot. Nobody cared. Amma, last time, there was some problems. Even I agree. Next time, no problem. Don't forget your son, Amma. Thank you. Jai Hind. What will happen now? Your mother will become his strongest supporter. Right? Understood? See, did he solve any problems now? No. He just listened. We Indians are emotional people. We just want someone to listen to us. Whether it is sorted out or not, we don't care. But we want someone to listen to us. Half of the weight gone, emotional weight. Oh, I feel relieved now. We want someone to listen to us. That was the listening platform, INC. Fine? Safety wall. They will listen to you. They will convey your request to Britishers. We don't know whether it is going to get solved or not. We don't know. But they will act as a bridge between the common masses and the British rulers. They will convey your request through prayers and petitions. And it is up to Britishers to solve it. But at least we have that mental satisfaction that somebody cared for us. All these years, nobody cared, nobody listened, nobody liked. bothered about our existence. But now at least somebody is caring, somebody is asking, somebody is listening. That's what we want. That's a moral relief for us, mental relief for us. Okay, something is fine. Someone is at least listening to us. That's what Indians want, and that's what Britishers wanted to provide. Safety wall. Fine. And now, did you understand this concept? Hey, yes or no? Yes. If it is no, I will explain again. Shall I? Okay, very good. And now, I have one more small question for you. Yenappa? Talreya. Economy, NCERT enough, or should we read something? NCERT is not enough. You have to read the standard books as well, whatever that suits you. Environment also, read some standard books. Fine. NCERT is not enough. Fine. So, one more small question. There were a lot of enlightened Indians who joined INC, like 72 delegates, Dadabhai Nauroji, W.C. Banerjee. They were all like enlightened, educated Indians. And when they know that this INC is a safety wall which wants to save the British Empire in India. Fine. If there is no revolt, then British Empire will survive. So, this INC is aimed at saving the British rule in India. Despite knowing that fact, why did they join INC? These educated Indians, if they knew that INC was a safety wall which is being founded in India to help the survival of British rule in India, then why did they join INC? Yenappa? A connection, fine. You wrote down that point now. I am asking you, despite knowing that fact, why they joined?
They want moderate changes. They want British rule with moderate changes. They have formed another strong organization.
Yes, you are slightly near to the point. They are loyal. They are loyal to British. Fine. So, do you know what is loyalty? Whatever he does, it will seem right to us. They are like not interested in mass politics and all. At that point of time, more than 90% illiteracy. So, even at the time of independence, only like 14% of Indians, 14 to 15% of Indians were literates. So, imagine like 60 years ago, pathetic situation. Hey, who got us independence? He belonged to which organization? See, these leaders, they knew that INC was kind of a safety wall. INC was kind of a safety wall that is formed in India to save the British Empire, to help the survival of the British Empire. Fine. And they also knew that Britishers will not let us establish any other All India organization. Any other All India organization, because they had seen what happened to Surendranath Banerjee. Surendranath Banerjee organized second national convention. Coinciding with Surendranath Banerjee's second national convention, Britishers, AOU, he organized INC session. They did not want Surendranath Banerjee to succeed. Therefore, AOU and there was a viceroy called as Dufferin. Both of them, they went ahead with the establishment of INC. Now imagine you have a choice to join Surendranath Banerjee's organization or INC. Or INC. You are an educated Indian who is still not very much aware of British rule, the true nature of British rule. Which organization will you join? INC. Fine. And these educated Indians, they knew even if you join Surendranath Banerjee, Britishers are not going to let that organization survive. Because coinciding with the second national convention of Surendranath Banerjee, they organized first session of INC. That itself is a message that Britishers will not let any other organization survive. Even if you join, that organization might come to an end. Then what's the use of joining it? So it was very clear to the nationalists that Britishers are not going to tolerate establishment of any other nationalist organization at all India level. Therefore, they decided to join INC only. And that was not without intentions. They knew that INC was a safety valve. But they wanted to use INC and AOU as lightning conductors. Do you know what is lightning conductor? See, lightning conductor it is a small piece of metal. It is a small piece of metal. And this piece of metal will act as a shield and it will protect a very huge building from the strike of lightning. Imagine if this metal was not there, this building would have got destroyed due to the strike of lightning. Now, just because of this piece of metal, lightning conductor, this entire building got saved even though it got hit by lightning. Understood? Now imagine this building as the national movement or the nationalism, this building as the national movement or nationalism. Will Britishers tolerate any nationalism or nationalist activity in India? No, because it is against their existence. It is against their existence. And imagine this lightning as the anger of British. Anger of British. If you carry on any nationalist activity, Britishers will get angry on you. Britishers will get angry on you. So, if Britishers strike, what will happen to those nationalists? Destroyed. Destroyed. Imagine like those 72 delegates who attended the first session of INC, they wanted to go against Britishers. They will organize one more national convention. Fine. They decide to fight against the Britishers. What will happen to all those 72 delegates? It will not even take a minute for Britishers to crush them. Not even a minute for them to crush these 72 people. Because they are the empire ruling over, ruling over the vast majority of the world. There was a saying, sun never sets in the British Empire. Such was the vastness of their empire. They were the bosses of this world. So, 72 delegates cannot challenge someone who is ruling over the world. It doesn't even take minutes for Britishers to tackle them. Therefore, if you go against them, they will suppress you. If you go against them, they will suppress you. Imagine if this lightning conductor was not there, what would have happened to the national movement? Suppressed. Ended. These 72 individuals who attended the first session of INC, they are the most educated and they are the most nationalistic people. And if those nationalistic breed, if that breed is affected, imagine what will happen to the national movement. For others to get the nationalistic thought, for others to come together, for others to form one more organization, it will take decades together of time. It will take 1 or 2 more decades. So what will happen to our national movement till then? It will become passive, no national movement. Or it will be very negligent. Therefore, we have to protect the national movement. We have to protect the national movement from the strike of Britishers, from the anger of Britishers. Therefore, our nationalist leaders, those enlightened 72 individuals led by Dadabhai Naoroji, Deensha Adulji Vacha, etc., what they did, they wanted to use INC and A.O. Hume as lightning conductors. What will lightning conductor do? It will protect the building against the strike of lightning. Imagine this lightning as the anger of Britishers. Imagine this building as the national movement. Now this national movement or nationalism will be saved because of the lightning conductor. What will be the lightning conductor? INC and A.O. Hume. So they wanted to use it as a shield. So now let us say these moderate leaders, they will get busy and start spreading national movement. Like most of them are like, they are the editors of the newspapers. Most of them are the editors of the newspapers. They publish the newspaper. Now imagine in Hindu newspaper, Subramanya Iyer, he was also the founding member of INC. Now he will criticize Britishers. He will criticize Britishers in his newspaper. Will Britishers tolerate it? No. They want to suppress. They want to teach a lesson to Surendranath Banerjee. Now Surendranath, not Surendranath Banerjee, Subramanya Iyer, they want to teach him a lesson. Now Subramanya Iyer, he will say, boss, member of INC, friend of AOU. And AOU will also say, hey, Nammudga Guru, like, he's our guy. Leave, I will tell you. Understood? They wanted to use INC and AOU as the shield to carry on their activities. If you are with AOU, if you are the member of INC, Britishers will not doubt you. Because they assume that this organization would be loyal to British rule. Because it is founded by whom? AOU, an enlightened imperialist who want the British rule in India to continue forever. Who want to tackle all the problems for British rule in India. You look at this circumstance. Look at this circumstance. Imagine there was no INC. There was no INC. There was no safety wall. What would have happened to this system? Revolt. Who might know? The British rule might have ended. More masses would have taken part in the revolution. They would have ended the British rule. What did AOU want? He wanted to provide the safety wall so that the British rule will survive in India. And our nationalists understood this. Therefore, they wanted to use AOU and INC as the lightning conductor so that nationalism will survive in India. Using them as the shield, we will carry on our nationalist activity. If you carry on without them, then Britishers might suppress you. I will give you one more small example. See, I hope you have seen BBMP or any municipal corporation in some footpath or in some parks. What they will do? They will plant a sapling. Let us say, I know this does not look like the plant and you know about my drawing skills, so please. So, they will plant a sapling, a small plant, and have you noticed that they will build a fence around it? They will also put a fence around it. Why? To protect the sapling. To protect the sapling. And will they protect it forever? What will be the height of that fence? 4 to 5 feet, not more than that. Why 4 to 5 feet? Why not more than that? Why not 10 feet? Or not, why not just 1 feet? See, it is with the intention that by the time this plant reaches the 4 feet or certain stage of growth, it cannot protect itself. If something happens to this plant before it reaches this age, then this plant might die, it might get destroyed. But when the plant reaches this stage of growth, or when the plant reaches this age or this height, even if it is there some damage, then it can sustain the damage, it can still keep on going. Now national movement is like this small sapling. So till it reaches certain stage, you have to protect it. If you anger the Britishers, if they get any doubt about your intentions, if you totally go against them, if you try to revolt against them, if you take up arms, then they will just crush this. And what if something happens before it reaches certain height? It will take decades more time to get regenerated. So this phase from 1885 to 1905, it is called as moderate phase. And these leaders, they wanted to protect national movement. They were loyal to Britishers. They acted as the they wanted to use INC and AOUM as the safety wall, this lightning conductor. AOUM felt that he is using INC as the safety wall. At the same time, we started using him as the lightning conductor. Both the purposes were served. See, and AOUM is already a retired civil servant. How many more years he will survive? Even if he is controlling INC, how many more years he will survive? Logical thinking. Fine. So finally, 1906, INC came completely under our control only. How? He was the secretary of INC from 1885 to 1906. After that, our control. By then, nationalism had grown strongly. 20 years. Now, nationalism had reached different set of people. Now, people knew what is self-rule, what is democracy, what is liberties, why do we need to fight against Britishers. They knew all these things. But in 1885, nationalism was a new thing to India. And if you do something against Britishers, Britishers will suppress you. This thing will end. This thing will end. Therefore, you have to carry on the national movement without angering the Britishers. And therefore, as a protective shield, we used INC. They thought we are using INC as the safety wall, and we used INC as the lightning conductor or a safety shield. Because, did you understand this analogy? Till the plant reaches a certain height, it requires protection. Because if something happens to this plant before it reaches a certain height, then that's the end of the plant. It will die, it will get destroyed. But after this height, after this age, even if something happens, it can sustain itself. It won't end or it won't get destroyed. It can sustain itself. See, I think you have seen huge trees. When they chop it away also, there will be new growth. Fine? Chiguru, we call it as. It will be there. But this small sapling, if something happens, that's the end of it. So, national movement, imagine that is in the form of a small sapling, a small plant. So, these leaders, they wanted to protect it. They wanted to protect it. And INC was kind of a fence around it. INC was kind of a fence around it. That's all. Imagine this as INC and this as AOU. We wanted to use them as the fence around it to protect the national movement. Fine. So, understood now. Please write it down. There are multiple theories. There are multiple theories with regard to the formation of INC. Multiple theories with regard to the formation of INC. First one, theory of safety wall. Theory of safety wall. Fine. In bracket, put forward by Lala Lajpat Rai. Lal. Close the bracket. Write on below the theory. AOUM was an enlightened imperialist. Was an enlightened imperialist. He understood the growing dissatisfaction against British rule in India, mainly due to the policies of Lytton, and he could gauge that if these grievances comma, if not addressed, that these grievances, comma, if not addressed, comma, might take the form of revolt, and therefore he wanted to form INC, as a safety valve, which will help Indians to get their grievances addressed. Grievances means issues, complaints, dissatisfaction, all those things. Get their grievances addressed, and therefore will prevent any revolt against British. Right? The British rule will continue. That's what he wanted. Okay. Next line. At the same time, enlightened Indian nationalists had learned their lessons, from Surendranath Banerjee episode. How Britishers, in bracket, how Britishers tried to derail his attempts. How Britishers tried to derail, D-E-R-A-I-L, Hali Tapsodu, derail his attempts. Close the bracket, and therefore they joined INC with the intent of using it as the lightning conductor, or as a protective shield, against the wrath of Britishers, W-R-A-T-H, wrath of British, W-R-A-T-H, against the wrath of British. Fine. Understood? So, this was the intent. Okay. Now, what is Bihari Lal Gupta episode? Very simple. It is very simple. Okay. See, I told you about the Ilbert Bill controversy, right? Ilbert wanted to allow the Indian judges also to take up the cases involving the Europeans. Fine. This thing was going on. At this point of time, there was a sub-divisional magistrate, SDM, DC, Bihari Lal Gupta. I told you, he had cleared ICSE in 1869 only. So he was a DC, and you all know DC also has some judicial powers. He is also known as sub-divisional magistrate. Fine. So Bihari Lal Gupta he took up a case involving the Europeans. At this point of time when Ilbert Bill controversy was going on, he took up the case involving the Europeans, and that was the spark. That was the spark. After this, entire European community became united and they started protesting against Ilbert, and they made Ilbert to resign. Bihari Lal Gupta episode means he took up the cases involving the Europeans, and this event became a turning point and it united the major European communities against Ilbert. Fine. So, whatever the story was there, just a small continuation of that story, nothing very significant. I just wanted to tell you Bihari Lal Gupta episode because that is not like easily found in the mainstream books and all. That is the reason. Okay. So, Bipan Chandra's Struggle for Independence and History of Modern India, both books are same. If they were same, why would we give different titles to it? They are not same, they are different. And Struggle for Independence is not the only author. There are 4 other authors. There are 4 other authors, including K.M. Panikkar, a very veteran historian. Fine. So, that book is different. Okay. So, now write on the next heading. Write on the next heading. Moderate phase. Moderate phase. Write down ideology or philosophy, ideology or philosophy, comma, political goals or demands, ideology or philosophy, political goals or demands, their contributions, important leaders, finally overview or analysis, overview or analysis. In the overview part, we look at their positives, their limitations, everything. Fine. Overall, we look back at the moderate phase and we will understand their positives, their strengths and also their weakness. Fine. So, now write down the introductory statement. For prelims, which is best? Insights test series. Thank you. Write down, moderates are the early nationalists. Moderates are the early nationalists who dominated INC, during INC and national politics, INC and national movement, write it, INC and the national movement during 1885 to 1905, who dominated the national movement and INC during 1885 to 1905, full stop. They followed peaceful and constitutional methods. They followed peaceful and constitutional methods. Full stop. The prominent leaders were the prominent leaders were, who are they? Dadabhai Nauroji, Dadabhai Nauroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Next time, surprising, write down. Surendranath Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Firoz Shah Mehta, Firoz Shah Mehta, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, in Bengali they spell it as Romesh Chandra Dutt. These are the prominent leaders. Fine. In Indian Association, you left one line blank, no? Go back to that line. One or two lines, I told you to leave blank under Indian Association. Right there. In 1886, Surendranath Banerjee got his Indian Association, merged with INC. Merged with INC. Merged with INC. Now come to the main page. Write down the first subheading, ideology or philosophy. Ideology or philosophy. Ideology or philosophy. So what do you think is their ideology? What do you think is their ideology? No idea. Huh? 3P na. Yaro Pradeepu, Pramodu, Prajwalla. Prayer, petition and protest. Fine. This is what you generally find in NCERTs and various other sources. Fine. It is correct only, but I have a slight improvisation of these 3 points. Now write down, draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. Write down prayer, petition and protest. Prayer, petition and protest. Fine. So what is petition? Very simple. It's a written request. Written request. Fine. It's a written request letter consisting some demands. Prayer means general prayer. Sir, please get it satisfied. Please get it done. Request. And if our request is not satisfied, if our petition is not answered, obviously we will get angry. Sir, what is this? Since yesterday I am asking you what is Bihari Lal Gupta episode, you are not answering. Fine. That is protest, the mild form of protest. Fine. They are not like violent people. They are the believers in the Britishers. They are loyal to Britishers. And therefore, protest means constitutional protest only. Sir, I did not expect this from you. I expected better. What is this, sir? That itself is a protest. They were gentlemen. Fine. That itself is enough. That itself was a great thing. Differing with the Britishers, criticizing them, that's the form of protest. See, Britishers are very strong. Questioning them itself is a form of protest. Sir, what you did is not very good. That itself is a protest. Because they are the very big empire. An empire where the sun never sets. Such is the vastness of their empire. Can these 72 people do something to them? Imagine all these 72 people holding AK-47. Can they do something? No. Britishers have very simple task, ending 72 people, that's all. Next 10 or 20 years, no nationalism, nothing. Because these are the leaders. These are the enlightened nationalists. They know what is the problem of India, what should be the solution, what is the path, what path should be taken. They are the enlightened ones. And if you get rid of them, that's the end. For next 1 or 2 decades, you have to wait. See, after the revolt of 1857, we had to wait for almost 27-28 years for the formation of INC. So now, if something happens to these leaders, again we will have to wait for another 10 or 20 years at least. So they have to be very careful, not to anger the Britishers or to enrage the Britishers. So they have to be very, very careful. And these people, they were also the products of English education. So by default, if you come out of the British school, you will be loyal to British. So they were loyal. They were loyal. Understood? So prayer, petition and protest. What is petition? Very small example. See, there are only 2 former prime ministers of India who are alive. And one among them is from Karnataka. Matter of pride for us. See, whenever there is some policy, now if you seek the suggestion of former Prime Minister Deve Gowda ji, who is not happy with that policy of the government, let us say central government, he will say this, I will write a letter to Modi ji. I will write a letter to Modi ji. He will never say, I will call Modi. He will say, I will write a letter to Modi ji. Writing a letter, it means petition. Written request letter. That's the official way of communication. Fine. That's how the people at the top, they communicate. Letters. Fine. Phone calls, SMS, WhatsApp, don't work there. Written request letter, petitions. Who introduced this tradition? Britishers. Because they followed it in their parliament. And we started following it. Understood? And these philosophy or ideologies, it had 2 intents. It had 2 intents. The first intent is to politically educate the Indian masses. Write it down. Politically educate the Indian masses. Politically educate the Indian masses. See, Indian masses don't know what is democracy, what is liberty, what is equality, what is rule of law, what is self-rule. We don't know. Someone has to explain it to them. Look at the level of literacy. Most of us are illiterates. We don't know all these things. Somebody has to explain us all these things. Who will do? Moderates. The second thing, they wanted to have political connections with British. To have political connections with British. Why? Write down. Political connections with British. With the intent to get the reforms. With the intent to get the reforms. Fine? See, if you are good friend of Britishers, if you request something with them, they will try to satisfy it. Fine? Understood? If you are a good friend of them, if they believe you, if they have trust in you, whatever you request, they will try to satisfy it. So that is what they wanted. That was their ideology. Being on the good side of Britishers so that they will satisfy your request or demands. Okay? And now, write down. You know this already. Aurobindo Ghosh is part of moderate leaders, sir. No, never, not. You will get to know who was Aurobindo, what was he doing, all these things when we discuss extremists. Fine. So wait till we meet extremists. Now it is too early. Fine. So write down. They adopted moderate path. They adopted moderate path. There is a reason. There is a reason why they took the moderate path. Why not revolutionary method? Why not extremist method? Why not something else? Why they adopted moderate path only? This is the reason. They adopted moderate path because the national movement was still in the stage of infancy. Was still in the stage of infancy. Fine. Very young, very early stage. If something happens now, gone. Fine. National movement was still in the stage of infancy, comma, peaceful and constitutional methods. Peaceful and constitutional methods has greater acceptability, and they also had belief in British. They also had belief in British. Fine. They were the products of English education. Fine. By default, they were loyal to British. They also had belief in British. Fine. So, see, when you believe in God, you pray. When you believe in God, you pray. You go to temple, you pray. When you don't believe, no prayer. So, since they believed in Britishers, they used to pray. Understood? That is the thing. And now, these moderates, they were very loyal to Britishers. In 1886, there was a session. There was a session in Calcutta. Dadabhai Naoroji was the president. He got elected as the president of INC, 1886. And in that session, towards the end of the session, when he was speaking as the president, he sought the blessings of the Britishers. He sought the blessings of Britishers for INC and also for the Indian people. He requested, please bless us. And at the start of every session, they used to stand up and they used to sing the British national anthem. And they used to like long live the Queen. They used to pray, they used to sing that song. And they used to pray for the well-being and good health of Queen. Well-being and good health of Queen. So they were very loyal. They were showcasing that they were very loyal to Britishers. Because as long as you showcase that you are loyal, they will let you survive. The moment they get to know that you are against them, they will suppress you. That's the end of story. And these people, they were loyal also. Like they were not acting and all, they were loyal because they were the products of English education. Fine. So this was the case. Okay. Now write down. The next subheading. What is the next subheading? Political goals. Political goals. Political goals or demands of moderates. See, moderates, they demanded a lot of things from Britishers and they had like lot of goals which they wanted to achieve. Fine. So, there are multiple things that they demanded from Britishers. Fine. And all of them can be classified under the following subheadings. First, they had lot of like under political goals, they had lot of goals to reform the legislature. They demanded a lot of legislative reforms, and they also demanded a lot of administrative demands, administrative reforms, and who gave the theory of drain of wealth? Which group he belonged to? They demanded explanation for drain of wealth. They told, you have taken away all our wealth. Give us an explanation at least. Right? So they demanded explanation for that. They wanted to make Britishers, they wanted to hold Britishers accountable for drain of wealth, and they demanded the welfare from the Britishers, like establishing schools, hospitals, lot of such things, and they also demanded civil liberties. Since the polity classes are over, I hope you know what are civil liberties. Fine. Anyhow, I will be dealing with them, don't worry. So firstly, we will see what are the legislative reforms demanded by the moderates. Legislative reforms demanded by the moderates. The first thing they demanded was increase in the strength of legislature, or it also means expand the legislature. Fine. See, as per the Act of 1861, there were how many members? Nikhil sir and Manjunath sir, no? I will tell to them. There were just 8 to 12 members. And what is the size of India? And how many members of parliament are there today? Gone. I asked parliament, did I mention Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? Parliament consists of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. 545 plus 245. That should have been the answer. But what did you give me the answer? 545. See, don't be in that rapid fire mode. Fine. UPSC is not like Tattanta Heli. Like, I'll ask you a question, you have to fire the reply. It's not like that. You have to think. You have to think before answering. And there is no reward for, like, there is nothing called as fastest finger first year. UPSC will never know how many seconds you took for answering that question. There won't be any additional reward for that. If you answer before 5 seconds, additional 1 mark, nothing like that. So before answering anything, think, then answer. And this is why, despite knowing lot of things, we go wrong in exams. This is why the number of mistakes or the number of negative marks will increase for a lot of people. They are very good, but still they don't understand the question properly and they just try to give whatever they know. Examiner is asking for something else, but you just want to give him whatever you know. Both things, like the expectation and the supply, it doesn't meet. Therefore, negative marking. Understood? Think and answer. Think and answer. So, now we have around 790 MPs. Okay? But back then, 8 to 12. Is it sufficient? Look at size of India. Look at the diversity. Look at the diversity. There are more than 20 major languages only. And the number of members? 8 to 12. Is it sufficient? Insufficient. Fine. Therefore, they told, Guru, expand the legislature. Increase the size. Let more people come. Let us discuss about the problems of India. Let us try to provide solutions to the problems or the issues or the grievances of Indians. We want more members in the legislature. First thing. And if more members, let's say they expand and they include all Britishers, what's the use? Therefore, we need Indian representation as well. Increase the Indian representation. Out of these, there were 3 Indians. Are they sufficient? No. Now we demanded, Guru, give us representation. We don't know what to do, give us representation. And now, these moderates, they have seen the beautiful systems in the West. Elections, democracy, everything. So they told, sir, why you will nominate? In England you elect, no? House of Commons, House of Lords, you elect. House of Lords you nominate, but House of Commons you elect. Why in India you will only nominate? India also introduce elections. Introduce elections. And sir, in England you have something called as budget, and in that budget all the members of parliament, they will sit together, they will discuss, they will ask questions, they will pass resolutions, they will vote on the budget, then it will get passed. But in India we pay the taxes and we have no rights with regard to the budget. Sir, we want budgetary powers. What is budget, by the way? See, in polity language it is annual financial statement. But budget means it is just a small account, income and expenditure. Fine. At central level we have a finance minister, she will take care of income and expenditure, she will present it before parliament. State level also we have finance minister who are like great experts in finances and all, and at home level mother is by default the finance minister, she knows the sources of income, she knows the expenditure, she will plan what all we should spend on all these things. So that is the case. And budgetary powers, we ask them, sir, we want to discuss the budget, because what is the source of income for Britishers in India? Revenue we pay. So we should have some control over the budget, we should discuss this money is being spent on what, why we should spend, we need to discuss, and we need to ask questions. We need to ask questions. Why so much money is being spent on Royal Darbar? Why not on education? We need to ask questions. And when something is not right, we need to pass resolution. Resolution means collective decision. Collective decision. We will tell them, Guru, why 20 crore for Royal Darbar and just 1 lakh rupees for education? Reverse it. Take 1 lakh rupees, perform Royal Darbar, give 20 crore for education. We have to pass the resolution, collective decision, forcing them to implement it. And see, you all know, at the end of the budget session, they will vote on the budget. They will vote on the budget. So we also need the voting power. If we do not like the budget, we will vote against it, so that Britishers can correct it. So these are the democratic instruments. These were all there in England. So we demanded, Guru, please give it to us in India also. So these were the legislative reforms demanded by moderates. Okay, and now Britishers, what they might do? Will they satisfy? Imagine you are Britishers, I am demanding all these things from you, will you satisfy? No. Seriously. See, now let me equate this with God and believer. Believer will request hundreds of things, and now if God doesn't even satisfy anything, what will happen to the believer? Will he continue to believe in the God? Understood? He will become an atheist. He will go against the God. Understood? Now, if you do not satisfy any demands of these moderates, they are your believers. They are your strongest supporters. They are your loyalists. They will go against you. Do you want that to happen? You don't want that to happen. At the same time, if you satisfy all these demands, that will also be a problem for you. Understood? If you don't satisfy, then moderates will be unhappy. They are your strongest supporters. They are your believers. You cannot lose the supporters. You are ruling a foreign country with their help only. So, you need their support. But if you satisfy them completely, again, now they are asking for increasing representation. Next they will ask for independence only. So you cannot completely satisfy their demands also. Without satisfying there will be a problem. If you completely satisfy also there will be a problem. Now Britishers, middle path. They will satisfy some demands. Not everything. See, you place 100 demands in front of God. At least if 1 or 2 are solved also, you will retain the faith. You will still continue to believe in God. At least 2 of them got satisfied. God is there. So, moderates also, same way. Even if 1 or 2 demands are satisfied also, their faith is justified. They will continue to believe in the Britishers. They think, okay, Britishers wanted to satisfy, but probably they are testing us. They want us to wait. That is what we believe, no? Right? So now, let me show you how well they satisfied their demands. So now Britishers, they responded through Act of Indian Council Act of 1892. Indian Council Act of 1892. The first and the foremost thing, what did moderates demand? Increase in the strength of legislature. Fine. So now Britishers, they increased it. From now on, legislature will have minimum 10, maximum 16. Minimum 10, maximum 16. Understood? Yes or no? Earlier, minimum 8, maximum 12. What did you ask? Expansion. They expanded. What did you ask? Expansion. They expanded. There is expansion or there is increase, no? So your demand, is it satisfied or not? Satisfied. Second thing, what did you ask? Indian representation. They told like half of these members would be non-official, not unofficial, it is non-official. The strength of the legislature can vary. It can have 10 members or even 16 members. It can have 11 also, 12 also, 13 also, 14 also. Fine? And half of them will be non-official members. Half of them will be non-official members. Now let's assume it had 14 members. When it had 14 members, 7 of them will be non-official. And Britishers told Indians can be the non-official members. Indians can be the non-official members. See, there are 2 kinds of members, official, non-official. There is a difference. They allowed Indians to become non-official members, not official members. I'll tell you what is the difference between official and non-official, but before that, just understand this. They expanded the legislature. Now it will have minimum 10, maximum 16. Half of them will be non-official members and they allowed Indians to become non-official members. Earlier how many Indians were there? 3. Now more than 3 will be there, that's for sure. Understood? What was your demand? Increased representation for Indians. Did they increase? Yes. Tell yes proudly. Yes. Now what did you ask for? Elections. What happens in elections? You go and vote. You asked for that election. But Britishers, they introduced indirect elections. Indirect election, where the rich and the elite people will vote. Big zamindars, members of boards of commerce, fine, municipal chairmen, the rich and the elite people, they will vote. And the rich and the elite people, they are loyal to whom? British. If they vote, they will elect whom? Those who are loyal to British. Understood? They told, for electing some non-official members, we will introduce indirect elections. See, if you vote, it is direct election. How are the members of Rajya Sabha elected? Indirect elections. Did you vote? They are elected only. But did you vote? No. Indirect elections. Our representatives, our MLAs voted and they elected the members of Rajya Sabha. Similarly here, there will be a lot of local bodies, panchayats, municipalities, Fine. So the members of those bodies will vote and elect the some non-official members, not all of them, some non-official members. Understood? So these some non-official members will be loyal to Britishers only, because who is voting? The rich and the elite people, and rich and the elite people are loyal to Britishers, and if these people are allowed to vote, obviously the members will get elected who are loyal to Britishers only. And now I will tell you the difference between official and non-official member. Let me tell you a very small story. Recently, like the budget session was going on, imagine you were sitting in home and your mother was also sitting with you, both of you were watching the budget session, Sunset TV, Parliament TV, both of you were watching, fine. So let us assume that, nothing wrong in assuming, fine. Some of your senior told you that budget session is very important, at least 1 or 2 questions in films will come from budget. So you thought 1 or 2 questions I will get today only. So you were watching the budget session. Now the government, they introduced GST on milk and curd. Earlier there was no GST on that thing. Now they introduced GST on milk and curd. So your mother will start scolding. What is this government? They are increasing tax on everything. How to survive? Right? Everything will get costly, severe inflation, income remains same, expenditure increasing. How to survive? Your mother has genuine doubts, she will criticize. From her point of view, she will criticize. And now let us assume economic classes are over for you people. Now you will say your mother, no mummy, it is not like that. For nation building, we require resources. For putting roads, for building dams, for bringing electricity, we require resources, and government will gather the resources by taxing us. Fine. There is a healthy discussion going on between you and your mother. Now your mother will say, but if they want to tax, let them impose new tax on the super rich people. There are a lot of super rich people, like lot of list and all is there, no? If they want to tax, let them tax the super rich people. Why to tax the poor people like us? Right? She also has a valid point. And you say, no mummy, government can't do that. Government can't do that. They cannot tax someone arbitrarily. It is against the principles of natural justice. Arbitrarily they cannot tax someone. So now the discussion is going on, healthy discussion on budget. Now your mother puts in lot of other arguments. Fine. See, from last few years, savings getting eroded, COVID-19 nobody helped, like that she will put in lot of arguments. At that point of time, the budget was put to vote. It was put to vote. Fine. Now your mother will say that budget should not be passed, and you will say that budget should be passed. Do you have any voting rights? Do you have any voting rights? See, your mother wants to pass a resolution to change the GST on milk and curd, because while preparing coffee, it will be a nightmare for her. Right? She wants to change that. She wants to pass a resolution and change the GST on milk and curd. She wants to cancel it. Can she do that? Fine. You could ask question to her, she could ask question to you. Fine. While discussing, you can question each other. Fine. You could discuss the budget, you can ask question, but can you vote and pass resolution on the budget? No way. Then you are the non-official member. Then you are the non-official member. The only difference is, now you are sitting in front of TV, If you are a non-official member, you would be sitting in legislative council only. But even while sitting in the legislative council, you can discuss the budget, you can ask a question, but you cannot vote on the budget, neither you can pass the resolution on the budget. You are the member of the house, but without any complete power. You are the non-official member. Official members can do everything. They can discuss, they can ask questions, they can vote, they can pass resolution, they will do everything. But being a non-official member, you can just discuss and ask a question. You cannot vote, you cannot pass a resolution. Limited powers, limited powers. But anyhow, what did you ask? Right to discuss the budget. Was it given? Yes. You wanted right to ask questions. Was it given? Yes. Other two things, somehow adjust. See, Britishers have satisfied all your demands. They have satisfied all your demands. What did you ask for? Expansion of legislature. Earlier how many members were there? 8 to 12. Now 10 to 16. Expanded or not? Second one, you wanted representation for Indians. Earlier there were just 3 members. Now more members. Did you get the representation? Yes. You asked for elections. What did they give? But the word election is there or not? You wanted budgetary powers. What did they give? Right to discuss and ask question. And see, this asking question, that is not unlimited power. That is not unlimited power. Now you will ask me, sir, what is the difference between official and a non-official member? I will explain that to you. Your doubt is still not clarified. Fine. You will ask me a supplementary question. Let's say, like geography is over for you, no? No. Let's assume. Now, Sudeep sir will be explaining you with regard to atmosphere. You know atmosphere, no? So, you asked a question, he gave a reply. Let's say I am explaining geography to you. I am very good at geography. I will tell you about that later. But let's assume I am explaining geography. You asked me a question. I gave an answer. For that you are not satisfied. Fine. So you asked me, sir, what are the layers of atmosphere? I am explaining that concept. So I will give you the reply. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere and Shakespeare. I will give you this reply. Now you cannot tell me, sir, Shakespeare is a poet. He is not the layer. He is not the layer in atmosphere, he is a poet. You cannot ask me that question. You can ask me one question and whatever reply I give, you have to accept that and you have to keep quiet. You can ask me a question but not supplementary question. Whatever reply I give, you should accept and keep quiet. You can ask me, sir, like, who are the non-official members? I can tell you, I had idli vada for breakfast. That's the reply. Understood? You have to accept and keep quiet. You cannot ask me, sir, what did I ask and what did you tell? So it doesn't match. No, no supplementary question. Whatever answer I give, that's the reply. That's the answer. You have to accept it and keep quiet. Understood? This is the story. They gave you the right to ask questions but not supplementary questions. Whatever response I give, you have to accept it and keep quiet. Understood? So now divide your page into 2, fold it in the middle, create 2 columns. Left side, write down demands of moderates or political goals of moderates. Demands of moderates or political goals of moderates. Right side, write down British response. Right side, British response. Fine. How Britishers responded to the demands of moderates. Because if they don't respond, they lose the belief. You have to respond, but that response has to be limited, because if you satisfy all the demands, then they will come up with huge demands. So this is the technology you have to use. Fine, understood? So left side, write down the first subheading, legislative reforms. Under moderates demand, write down first one, legislative reforms. Right side, as a response to it, what did Britishers give? Act of Indian Council Act of 1892. That is covered in the polity class, no? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Or did Manjunath sir tell, Pradeep sir will do? He told that. I know. It will take my 10 to 15 minutes of class also. He will leave more syllabus for me to cover also. And whenever there are questions on these constitutional developments, he will claim those questions also. He will say, hey, no, this belongs to polity only, not modern India. Whenever there are questions with regard to Act of 1919, Act of 1935, he will say those questions belong to polity, not modern India. He will say, Guru, I explain these things. At least you won't teach that. Give the credit to me at least. Won't agree to that as well. You will take 10 to 15 minutes of my class as well. Okay. What happened? Today at what time the polity class ended? 1:50. 1:55. 2. Very good. Very good. That's the reason I come late to class. I will be here, like I will be in the surrounding only by 1:50, 1:45. By looking at the queue, I roam here. Really. I am not a person who is usually late to class and all. I come early. But instead of standing in queue and all, just roam around, that's all. Fine. Write down, first point. First point. Why Indians are not allowed to become official members? Because they are Indians. Racial discrimination. Indians are not fit to rule. Fine. So, okay. Now write down expansion of legislature. Expansion of legislature. Second point, increase the Indian representation in the legislature. Third point, introduce elections in India. In bracket, to legislature. Introduce elections in India, in bracket, to legislature. Last point, provide budgetary powers or rights. Provide budgetary powers or rights. So what all they demanded? First one, discuss the budget. Discuss the budget. Second one, ask question. Third one, pass resolution. Fourth one, vote on budget. Discuss, ask question, pass resolution, vote on budget. These were the demands. Now, below the Indian Council Act of 1892, write down. See, all the points, whatever you write, should be parallel to each other. Fine. So, write on the first point, increase the size of legislature, increase the strength of legislature, increase the strength of legislature. Put hyphen and write, minimum 10 to maximum 16 members, minimum 10 to maximum 16 members. Fine. Understood? And half of them were to be and half of them were to be non-official members. Half of them were to be non-official members. Next point, allowed Indians to be the non-official members. Allowed Indians to be the non-official members. Fine. Third point, introduced indirect elections. Introduced indirect elections for electing the non-official, for electing some non-official members, for electing some non-official members, not all the members, some non-official members. Fine. In bracket, the rich and the elite, the rich and the elite were given the voting rights. Rich and the elite, wealthy and the aristocratic, both are same. Rich and elite were given the voting rights. Last point, with regard to budgetary powers. With regard to budgetary powers, write on, allowed Indians, in bracket, non-official members to discuss the budget and ask questions. To discuss the budget and ask questions. In bracket, not the supplementary questions. Not the supplementary question. Fine. Close the bracket. Full stop. However, the power to vote and to pass a resolution were not granted. However, the power to vote and to pass a resolution were not granted. Okay. Dear Vasant, please visit our offline center once, meet Vinay sir, convey him like your situation, probably he will be able to help. So, what is the war between IAS and IPS? Vara. See, whenever there is a war, there should be two armies, there should be violence, there should be bloodshed. I don't see any of them happening. So, there is no war. So, this question is non-existent, invalid. Fine. So, if you have anything to ask about the things that are discussed, the productive things, please ask. These things, fine. It is of no use to any of us. So, don't waste your precious time on such things. Fine. So, spend it on studies. Anyhow, like you are having 2 or 3 classes a day, you are like running very short of time. So, when you have like the limited resources, you have to use it in a very good way. Right? There is something called as spending and investing. There is a difference. There is a difference between spending and investing. When you spend something thoughtfully, then you call it as investing. Understood? The short, whenever you have something in limited amount, you should invest it, you should not spend it, whether it is money or time. So So there is a very thin line of difference. If you spend it, then it's gone. If you invest it, it will help you. So you have very limited amount of time with you, very limited amount of energy with you. You don't have like what is called like vast pool of energy with you. You cannot work for all 24 hours with the same amount of energy or interest. So the amount of energy you have, it is limited. The time you have, it is very limited. So invest it. Fine. Don't spend it on some nonsensical stuff. Okay. So got the message, I think. Okay. Not audible. Can't help. So the rich people cannot hear the voice of the poor. That has been the status in India since times immemorial, especially during British rule. Fine. So now write on the next set of demands. Just write it down. Administrative reforms, or the demand for administrative reforms. Okay. So time is 4:10. Break till 4:20. Break till 4:20. Okay. Now write down. Below the administrative reforms, first point, below the administrative reforms, write on the first point, civil service reforms, civil service reforms. See, the first thing we wanted under civil service reforms was, what is the minimum age of recruitment? Maximum age 19. Later, like we had like demanded the Britishers, Guru, increase it, and finally, like we wanted the increase in the maximum age of entry. That was our demand. We wanted the increase, and we wanted more and more Indians, Indianization of civil services. See, the civil servants, they come from England. What do they know about our problems? What do they know about our language, our culture, our people? Nothing. So they will not be in a better position to serve us. But if Indians are there in civil services, we can serve India better, because we know the realities. At least we understand the language. If you don't understand the language, how will you understand the problem of the persons? That's difficult. That's the reason. We wanted increase in maximum age, Indianization of civil services, and also we demanded Britishers to conduct the examination simultaneously. We demanded simultaneous examination. See, the examination for ICS, it was conducted only in England. So we told Guru, this is ICS, Indian Civil Service, conduct exam in India also. Fine. Simultaneously, whatever exam you conduct there, conduct in India also, because there are a lot of Indians with lot of potential. They also want to become civil servants, but they are very poor. They cannot afford to go to England and appear in the examination. That is what is the reason for them to not appear in the examination. So that is the reason, conduct this examination in India also, so that lot of potential Indians, they can also enter into the services. Because it is there in England, only British youth are entering, Indian youth not getting opportunity. Fine. So very difficult to see. Imagine at that point of time, was there any employment in India? Fine. Agriculture under loss, industries getting closed down, soldiers, artisans, loss. So there was no profitable employment in India. There were no modern industries. So like almost 90% of Indians under poverty. Only the zamindars, the rich and the elite, they had the resources. What about the common people? Despite having potential, they could not afford to go to England to appear in this examination. So we told, conduct the examination simultaneously in India as well. This was our demand. And the second demand was, we wanted Indian representation in Viceroy's Executive Council. Viceroy's Executive Council. So you can equate it with Modi ji's Council of Ministers, where every member is responsible for a particular portfolio. There will be defense member, home member, finance member, like that. There was no Indians. See, this council was founded in 1858. Viceroy's Executive Council, founded in 1858. From 1858 till now, no Indian member. So that is the reason we told, Guru, give representation to Indians. And we also told them, sir, you are wastefully spending our money on military and civil services. Therefore, reduce the expenditure on military and civil services. Because most of the civil servants are like British youth. You give them salary, they won't spend or invest in India, they will send that salary back to their home country. What will happen to our resources? They will go to England, and you are paying the highest salary in the entire world. Reduce their salary. ಮಾಡದಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ. Anyhow, they are not contributing to the development of this nation. Why to give them such a high salary? Fine. Second thing, why are you spending so much of money on military? Anyhow, India is not surrounded by the enemy countries at that point of time. So reduce the expenditure on military. Use the same money to build more schools, establish more hospitals. Fine. Help the people during famine. Provide irrigation. Why are you wastefully spending it on these two things? They demanded. And next thing, the fourth point, they demanded separation of judiciary from executive. Even today it is there in our constitution, article 50. ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ 51ಗೆ ಪ್ರಮೋಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು? Article 50. Why is it needed? Separation of judiciary from executive. To prevent concentration of power. Biasa. Concentration of power. What will happen if there is concentration of power? Despotic rule. Dangerous. Any example? Hey! ನಮ್ಮ ಆಂಟಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು. There was a saying once upon a time, India is equal to Indira. How dare you? Just like you have, just because you have civil liberties, do not misuse it. There is reasonable restriction also. Fine. So don't surpass that line. Fine. It's true, there were some misuse. But how can you say that so openly? That's the reason she ended it during emergency. This freedom of speech is dangerous. Now Niti Aayog member only told dissent is not good for democracy. Too much of dissent not good for democracy, because people will keep on debating. There will be opposition to everything. There won't be any progress. 50 years ago only, the visionary leader understood. That's the reason she restricted it. And you people are criticizing it. So sad. You don't know polity. Fine. I'll tell you a very small example with regard to what happens when both judicial and executive powers are concentrated in the hands of the same person. Fine. Let's imagine like you and your friend will go to a shop. Your friend is a smoker. He always wants extra oxygen. He is not satisfied with the oxygen that already exists in the atmosphere, so he derives his extra oxygen from that cigarette. You don't smoke. You are a very good person. Your friend is the culprit. Fine. You both go, your friend will buy that cigarette, he will start smoking, and there is a law, you know, smoking in public is a offense. Now unfortunately the policeman came there. When your friend was smoking only, the policeman came there, and policeman caught your friend. He caught your friend. But your friend, he was also a civil service aspirant. He has also attended the polity classes of Manjunath sir. Now the policeman will ask him to pay the fine. Your friend will say, see, as per our constitution, article 19(1)(a), there is freedom of expression, and this is my freedom of expression. This is my way of expression. Right? And as per article 21, there is right to life, and this is the way I live my life. Right? And as per constitution only, these two rights cannot be restricted. Who are you? Are you above constitution? So that person started scratching his head, and he got angry as well that your friend was arguing, no? So that policeman got angry. So what he did? He wrongfully included you also in the case. Told both of you were smoking. He told whatever arguments you have, come to court, get it decided there, and proved guilty, you pay the fine or else you walk away. So he gave you the notice, he went away. Now you told your friend, Guru, let's not take this very seriously, we'll pay the fine, we'll sort it out. Your friend, by looking at the policeman, he got confidence, my polity, I am no less than any lawyer. So he told, don't worry macha, I will argue for ourselves in the court. Fine, let me be the lawyer. So you both went to court, and in the court your friend started again, Your Honor, he told about article 19, he told about article 21, and he also told right against exploitation. This fining, it's a form of imposing penalty fine, this is a form of exploitation, Your Honor. This imposition of fine and penalty should be abolished. Fine, it is against my fundamental right. And before ending the argument, your friend put forward his final argument. Your Honor, as per article 47 of our constitution, the Gandhian ideal, what does it say? Judge asked, what does it say? Now, your friend will say, sir, Your Honor, Gandhi told to destroy all the bad things, and this cigarette is a bad thing, Your Honor, I am destroying it, I am burning it down. And in this country, it is very sad that people are forgetting Gandhi and Gandhi's ideals. And a prominent Gandhian like me is getting punished. This is the sad state of this country, Your Honor. This should be addressed very soon. Or else, in this country, there won't be, Gandhi will be there only on currency, not in the hearts. So the judge, fine. Now your friend finished his argument, he came, very excited he was. Now the judge will stand up from his position. And imagine if the same policeman who imposed fine on you is the judge there. The policeman and judge both are seen. Now, what will happen to you? See, your friend committed a mistake. He should be fined. But the policeman has wrongfully fined you also. Will you get the justice there? Why? Because executive and judiciary are in the hands of same person. Fine. And now, what will you get? Permanent tattoos. Fine. Understood? So, oh, write down. Write down. Write down. Administrative reforms. See, continue the table format. Because I will tell you few more things. That side we are ready to fill. Only this side we are writing down. Continue the table format. Write only in the left side, not on the right side. Okay? So now write down. Civil service reforms. Under that, what did they ask? Below that, write down the sub points. Indianization of civil services. First point, Indianization of civil services. Second point, increase in the the age of entry into the civil services, increase in the age of entry into the civil services. Next point, conduct the civil services examination, conduct the civil services examination simultaneously in India, simultaneously in India. Now the first point over, civil service reforms, whatever they demanded, first point over. Go to the second point. Second point, provide representation for Indians in Viceroy's Executive Council. Provide representation for Indians in Viceroy's Executive Council. Third point, reduce the expenditure on army and civil services. Reduce the expenditure on army and civil services. Last point, separate judiciary from executive. Separate judiciary from executive. Fine. Now right side, under the British response. Fine. Now parallelly to civil service reforms, write down Aitchison Committee, AITCHISON, Aitchison Committee, Aitchison Committee for Civil Service Reforms, Aitchison Committee for Civil Service Reforms, in bracket 1886, 1886, 1886, fine. So first point, below Aitchison Committee, write down, it recommended increase in the maximum age of entry, increase in the maximum age of entry increase in maximum age of entry to 21 years. Fine. Sorry, 23 years. 23 years. How many of you are eligible? Very good. Happy now? Somebody is on, like, representing you. Right on the second point. It was against simultaneous examination. Second point. It was against simultaneous examination. Third point, it recommended 3-tier structure, TIER, 3-tier means 3-layered, 3-tier structure for civil services, 3-tier structure. Fine. First one, imperial, second one, provincial, third one, local. Fine. Imperial means today whatever we have, IAS, IPS, etc. Provincial means KAS. So it also told some people from the provincial civil services should be promoted to ICS. Today we have no. So promote IAS and all, we have the system. Local civil services. Local civil services means panchayat officers, FDA, SDA, PDO, panchayat development officer, village accountant, we have same thing. They recommended formation of 3 layers. Fine. And with regard to other 3 demands, with regard to other 3 demands. Write down. No response by British. No response by British. They did not respond. Fine. See, Britishers are the bosses. They can choose to which thing they will respond, which thing they will not respond. Imagine, like, see, imagine you are going on the street. You are going on the street. Imagine there is a person who will come to beg in front of you. A person will come. Now, you are the master. You can choose how to respond, to avoid him or to donate him, fine, or to send him back. So, you will decide. You are the master. He is the beggar. So, similarly, back then, Britishers were the masters, moderates were the inferiors. They were the servants. They were requesting, and Britishers can choose to which thing they will respond, which thing they will not respond. It's up to them. They had the liberty. They were the bosses. They will decide. Fine. Now, write on the third set of reforms they demanded. Demanded explanation for drain of wealth. Drain of wealth. Demanded explanation for drain of wealth. Now, right side, set up royal committee, set up committee on royal expenditure. Set up committee on royal expenditure, also known as Welby committee, also known as Welby committee. Fine. In bracket 1895. They set up the committee. Now, will this committee agree that there was drain of wealth, Britishers looted money from Indians? Write down, put hyphen and write. This committee refused all the charges of drain of wealth. They told there is nothing called as drain of wealth. Refused all the charges of drain of wealth. They told Britishers are the people who only know how to give. They don't know how to take. Kasturi Nivasa, Anna. Okay. What happened after that to us? I told no. Permanent tattoos. When will you start Kannada literature? It will come in the website. Probably in the first week of April. Not in March. First week of April. You are a good actor. Try movie field. Don't waste here. ಒಂದೇ ಸರಿ ಫುಟ್ಪಾತ್ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. See, there is a very thin line of difference between Hitaishi and Hitashatru. Fine. A well-wisher and what do you call? Yedrappa. See, I know my English not very good. We can't help it. There are reasons. I do commit a lot of grammatical errors and all. No, it's good. Hey. Then very happy. I will tell my mummy. She will also feel very happy. She will also feel very happy. Because see, my English was not very good. Because in my school, primary school and all, they used to teach English in Kannada. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Bettu kodrante kano. This is how I used to explain. So how will I get to? How will I get better in English? Fine. So I used to understand English in Kannada only. So that problem remained with me. So later, after reading Hindu newspaper and all, I felt okay. This is English. And Hindu English very difficult to understand. Every day I used to have that big dictionary, Oxford dictionary. After going to Delhi, I brought one dictionary. And that Oxford dictionary, it is so strange that the meaning of the complex word is also complex. To translate from Oxford dictionary, I had to buy another dictionary. Can't help. Life is complicated. And this Hindu newspaper is even more complicated. Fine. Then I started doing this, like every day, like I used to read one article. I was very fond of politics. I started reading newspapers at the age of 7 or 8 only. I used to read Kannada newspapers. So back in like 98, 99 only I started reading newspapers. So like I was very fond of politics and all, very curious. Even today I know like politics of different states. The leaders, opposition leaders, within the ruling party, what are the different groups. I know all these things, infightings. That is my hobby, that is my passion, politics. So like I could not understand this editorial and all. Editorial, that's a different level of English. It was very difficult for me. The normal politics related articles, I used to read 2 or 3 times till I understand that completely. If there are any difficult words, I used to find out the meaning of that. I used to write down there only. And then I used to write one sheet, whatever I understood, my own words. The same article, I used to rewrite it in my own words. And this exercise went on for months together during my first attempt. It went on for months together. And that helped me improve my English. Today it's somewhat better, like better than where I started. So it happens, like lot of us might not be very good in English, but instead of just thinking over that or just worrying about that, what we can do is we can get into work. We can find the solutions to the problems we have instead of just like worrying about the problems. You can do that, you can try that, that will give wonderful results. And now your English is not good, that's why we are understanding ante. Now write down the 4th demand. Now end the table format, end the table format. So if I just tell you history, then you will sleep in class. If I just tell you history, you will sleep in class. So what was your experience with history? School days and all? Fine. I know that. I have also been the victim of that. That is the reason there are a lot of other things as well. Fine. And these things are not totally unrelated to your preparation. It comes to you in a comical way. That's what I told, infotainment classes. With every story there is a moral, that's all. Understood? So enjoy that, at the same time learn from the message, that's all. Okay? So 4th one, welfare demands. Welfare demands. Now end the table, write in the full page. Okay? Welfare demands. Increase the expenditure on what? What will you demand? Education, health and sanitation. Education, health and sanitation. Because there are a lot of illiterates in the country, people are dying because of diseases, lack of sanitation. There is spread of plague, cholera, malaria every now and then. So with increase in sanitation, those things can be avoided. Second important thing, write down, introduce modern industries in India. Introduce modern industries in India. Why industries in India? Because people will get employment at least. If you get employment, you will get salary. When you get salary, your standard of living will increase. You will come out of poverty. That's the thing. Third point, reduce the agricultural revenue, or reduce the land revenue, and abolish the tax on salt, Fine. Next point, ensure the protection of Indian labor in different parts of British Empire. Especially in South Africa. Fine. Lot of Indians have went to different parts of empire in search of employment, and Britishers also have taken Indians in the form of indentured laborers. So there Indians were getting exploited. So we requested Britishers, Guru, please protect them. Fine. So the next subheading, civil liberties. So what is the civil liberties that we demand? Write down. Article 14, what is it? Right to equality. Freedom of expression. Freedom of press. Voting rights. Judicial rights. Fine. So we demanded all these things. Fine. So now, for the last two things, Britishers did not even respond. We demanded a lot of things with regard to welfare of Indians and with regard to civil liberties. Britishers did not respond to any of these things. They only responded to whatever we wrote down in the table. First, with regard to legislative demands, they set up Indian Council Act of 1892, they responded, and we demanded civil service reforms, for which they responded by setting up of Aitchison committee, and we demanded explanation for drain of wealth, they responded by setting up of Welby committee, Royal Committee on Expenditure. Fine. For other things they did not respond, because they are the bosses, they will choose when to respond, what to respond, they are the bosses. Okay. So now write down achievements or contributions of next heading, achievements or contributions of moderates. First one, Indian Council Act of 1892. Indian Council Act of 1892. Because they made Britishers respond to it. And if Britishers respond to your demand, it means it's a major achievement. Second one, Aitchison Commission 1886. AITCH ISON. Aitchison Commission 1886, related to what? Civil service reforms. Third one, Welby Committee Welby committee. Fourth one, increase the maximum age to 23 years. Increase the maximum age of entry into civil services to 23 years. Increased the maximum age of entry into civil services to 23 years. Next point, in 1893, British Parliament agreed to conduct the examination for civil services, simultaneously in India. They agreed. Right? There is a difference between deciding and implementing. Fine. There is a difference between planning, deciding, agreeing and implementing. They agreed in 1893, but can you guess when it was implemented? Any guess? 19 mundukele 1909 no 12 into 3 ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಪ್ಪ 9 12 15 It was implemented in 1924. They just agreed to do it, but the implementation happened in 1924. Fine. Write down in the margin. But the simultaneous examination was conducted in 1924. Agreeing is different, implementing is different. Fine. It was conducted in 1924. See, and there are various important moderate leaders, and they have given a lot of individual contributions as well. Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, and Firoz Shah Mehta, Surendranath Banerjee, etc. All their contribution will reach to you in the form of handouts. It will be posted today. Told them to post yesterday only, probably they have forgotten. It will be posted in your official groups itself. Batch 6 and 8, right? In your official Telegram group, it will be posted. You can take the print of it, you can read it before coming to tomorrow's class, because tomorrow, first 5 minutes, there will be rapid fire round. I'll ask you the contributions, fine? You have to say that, fine? You have to memorize that, because at least one question, till 2016 one question was from their contributions, but now it is not there, but still UPSC can revive this tradition, like they can go back to this moderate leaders anymore. I mean, and moderates are a very important topic for UPSC, because you can see from 2013 to 2021 in mains only, twice they have asked about moderates only. Twice a question has been asked on moderates only. UPSC is interested in moderates. And now write down the overview or analysis. Who told you to pack up? Write down. Write down overview or analysis. Fine. Positives. First we will write down the positives. So what are the positives of moderates? Any idea? Write down. Exposed various forms of exploitation, especially exposed various forms of exploitation, especially the economic exploitation. Fine. Which gave the ideological base which gave the ideological base for the future nationalist struggle. Thank you. Fine. Right on the second point. Educated the masses politically with regard to the ideals like liberty, equality, rule of law, etc. Rule of law, etc. Next point, created a common platform against a common enemy. Created a common platform against a common enemy. Fine. Now write down the limitations. First point, belief in British. See, when you believe in your enemy, how can you fight? Britishers are the one exploiting us. When you have faith in them, when you are loyal to them, when you believe in them, how can you fight effectively against them? Fine. So the fight will be ineffective. That's the reason. Belief in empire, that itself was their major weakness. Fine. Second point, they were not progressive enough. To seek self-rule or Swaraj. Rather, they were content or satisfied with just reforms to the existing system. Fine. Next point, they did not believe in mass politics. Since they assumed that Indian masses are divided over the lines of caste, religion, and are illiterates. Fine. Therefore, they cannot be united. Next point, most of the moderate leaders belong to wealthy and aristocratic families. And therefore and therefore they were not familiar with the issues of the bottom section of society, like laborers, peasants, etc. Next point, moderates belong to, moderates were highly educated intellectuals, and they predominantly used English, and therefore common masses could not connect with them, in bracket, even in 1947 85% of Indians were illiterates. Fine. And now these are the limitations, and write down this statement, concluding remarks. This paragraph you write down, first paragraph. This statement is given by the historian Bipin Chandra, not Bipin Chandra Pal. Do you start any non-cost daily these type of online session? No time. So I am very sorry. You can follow our website, daily current affairs, daily quiz, secure compilation, daily answer writing, and follow our website for non-cost guidance. How to manage office and study, how to have a routine. There is a YouTube video, like I only did that. Effective study plan, insights into effective study plan, you can watch that. Why imposition of salt tax was a big issue, you will understand in 1930. You will understand. Now we are in like around 1880s, 1890s. Wait for another 30-40 years, you will understand it very clearly. So see, to understand everything you require certain background, certain understanding. I cannot bring any topic out of flow, right? Any topic cannot be taught randomly. So we are going in an organic way. Now we are introduced with moderates. You got to know about moderates, their achievements, their contributions, everything. Now there are a lot of limitations as well. There are a lot of limitations of moderates that led to the emergence of the next group of leaders. Moderates were not completely successful in getting their demands addressed. So there were limitations in their methods that led to the emergence of next group of nationalists called as extremists. Fine. So I will explain you the limitations of moderates in tomorrow's class, and also I will explain this second statement of Mahadev Govind Ranade in tomorrow's class. Then we will proceed with the next group of nationalists, extremists. Fine. So hope you all enjoyed today's class. Thank you all. See you all tomorrow.